Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger. My friends, we just recently had the massive King of Fighters 15 balance patch, and a lot has changed. And as is tradition on this channel, we're going to be going through some of the winners and losers of the patch. Now, a patch this size, like frankly, just to put it out there, the majority of the cast are winners, right? So I'm not going to go through every character and put out another 2-hour video, right? Some people, emphasizing for effect here, are more winners than others, and a lot of characters that are, say, losers, like, technically nerfed, like, say, Terry Bogard, they're still fine. They're still pretty friggin' good, right? So I wouldn't put Terry as a loser, necessarily, even though he's technically nerfed, because he's still one of the better characters in the game. So in this video, I'm going to be highlighting some of the characters I think made out a little bit better than the rest, because a lot of characters, they made out pretty well, right? But some made out just a little bit better. And some of the ones that got nerfed, or maybe didn't get buffed enough, that wind up being in the losers category. So Iori has to be the first winner here, because he's got a lot to go on with here in the patch. Not the least of which is the changes to Dragon Punch Motion Kick here, the big flip. Now, yes, that is nerfed in a way. It used to be an overhead, but no longer is. But I think the changes more than make up for it. One, it does 80 damage now. It's got a pretty big damage buff. Also, one of the big things about the move is you could cancel that move into other moves, right? And that cancel restriction has been relaxed. As before, you could only cancel it into certain EX moves, but now you can cancel it into any EX move, including EX Rekka, which kind of revolutionizes his combo structure and damage potential. So say mid-screen, off a light starter, we can now do something like this. And that's pretty respectable for a single bar, 360, right? No corner, no fanciness. Also, we use one of the new buffs there, in that Far Stand Light Punch is now special cancelable. And when you know it, very easily goes into EX Fireball for combo potential. That's great. In the corner, well, our damage just goes way up. Look at that, almost 450 for a bar. That's pretty respectable. Ain't nobody gonna laugh that off, right? And that's just all thanks to the fact here, we go for EX Fireball, go for the dunk afterwards, and now that we can cancel into EX Rekka, and the fact that they're falling down when we do EX Fireball, right? So when we do our dunk, it leaves them airborne, and EX Rekka launches them even higher up now. We have just so much more combo potential. So if you're just a fan of, like, number go higher, Iori's numbers go higher now, right? So that's great in and of itself. Some things like Stand Heavy Punch becoming 7 frames over from 9 frames, right? It's a workhorse of a move, workhorse of a normal. So that's just fantastic. And some of the other stuff that's more oddball, like his half circle back kick, right? Now has 2 versions. Used to just be the one move. It gets the dunk on you, and it's an OTG if you're on the ground. But now it has an empty run version in light kick, and a lot of people are wondering, well, what's the point, right? You can just run instead. You don't gotta. But the thing is, it's a special move, which means you can cancel into it from various normals. So you now have a command run, like say your blowback. Well, wouldn't you know it? You started running halfway across the screen to catch up, and you didn't have to, manually run, because you can't. You'd have to wait for the move and then run yourself versus closing a lot of the distance manually. So now let's put some of the stuff together here, right? So like say the classic Iori command grab. You get them, then just, you can open them up for combos, 127. So now let's use that new buff. So we're going to do that command grab, and we're going to do our CD, and then do the command run, so we're pretty close to them, right? And then instead we'll do this. And then it's 133. Now, obviously, it's not a lot more damage, right? But more damage is more damage in the end. Just an idea. And if you're like super tight on the timing, you can actually link Stand Heavy Punch into the Rekkas from there. Although, frankly, it's so hard. I only got like 2 or 3 tries out of like 50 attempts. So I'm not going to write it off as like a new B&B combo. Just a lot of quality of life stuff. Like he runs a little bit faster. That's great. LPDP is now 2 frames faster and just better as an anti-air, right? So if you want the quick reversal, you don't just have to rely on the EX anymore. That's fantastic. His sweep is less jacked. That's the best way to put it here. It's more usable because it has less overall frames, so it's not just out there for less long. Like, if you whiff it before, you were extra dead. Now, well, don't whiff it. Like, try to connect, right? But you can feel a little more safer and a little more confident in using the sweep. Overall, Iori's just doing good. He's got a lot of great quality of life buffs. His overall damage is up. He has new options for game plan stuff with a lot of new gimmicks with the run. I think he's going to be just fine. Benimaru is another character that got so many good quality of life changes. He's definitely not as strong as he used to be in this version of the game, but now with this patch, things are definitely working out a lot better. Just a little stuff like close heavy kick being 4 frames instead of 5, right? Like, that means at the bare minimum, it's easier to do off jumps and stuff, which is nice, right? But it also means you can now get punishes with it you could not get before. Punishes into full proper combos. The fact that stand heavy kick got the big buffs, like, it's faster, that's great, and it's also super cancelable, which is much more important now because Benny's rising shot super here, the little kick here, ground bounces. So you get a lot more combo potential. Yeah, they nerfed the damage a little bit, right? But whatever, because you get level 1s into level 1s now, right? Like, you can do stuff you could not do before. So his overall damage potential is going up. Like, Raijinken now does, well, because technically it's a combo into itself, so it doesn't do 100 technically, but it does 100 damage now, right? So this has always been like a mainstay move, so just it doing more damage is great. The fact that a lot of his stuff is faster crouching, like crouch light punch, crouch heavy punch, like, that's a great little new hit confirm, right? Like, easy peasy, and that's light's going to heavies, which is more common in the patch. A lot of characters got a lot more light into heavy link potential. And for Benny, because, you know, when it comes to like command normals, his command normal's a little wonky, right? Like, it still works, but even there, like, close heavy punch into command normal is not a natural combo. So him just being able to go into heavies by himself is like just fantastic for just general combo pressure. That is a big help. There's definitely other things in the future that could help buff him, like if they change the buffer for Tiger Knees. In this game, it's a lot harder to Tiger Knee any given move than it is in previous games. Like, say, low to the ground air Raijinken is a little bit negative. However, if you can Tiger Knee it, it's plus on block, right? But the thing is, it's a little difficult to be consistent with Tiger Knees in the King of Fighters 15, at least compared to older versions of the game. It has something to do with the jump buffer. So if that ever changes, that'd be another huge buff for him. But overall, he's just doing more damage. He has more options. Things are doing good for him. This patch has been very kind to Yashiro, especially considering from the beta to now, he was kind of nerfed, but now he's, well, back in the game. Things like giving him a very generous cross-up now with a jump heavy punch. Just so easy to do. That's great. Crouch heavy punch moving more forward helps his link games because stand light kick, close light kick, links directly into crouch heavy punch. And there could be situations where you might just get exactly pushed out, and now realistically, it's not so much of a thing. So that just helps his game out. And speaking of helping his game out, the EX machine gun punches there. So they do more damage now, which is great. It's a big part of his combo structure. And also it has relaxed combo scaling now. So when you're using it in a combo, it also basically does more damage. So it's more damage across the board. And speaking of the combo structure, now that light jet counter, if you use it in a combo and hits an airborne foe, it gives basically the juggle anywhere property to whatever the next hit's going to be. That makes things really easy and expands a lot of his repertoire. Like, this is a very simple example here, right? And that's pretty good damage. And you can get a lot more complex. I'm just not good enough with Yashiro to make more inventive routes than that, right? You can definitely do a lot better. So his just raw damage is skyrocketing in this patch. And considering, you know, the whole Yashiro game plan is run in and beat face, damage is what he needs. He's not like a weird utility runaway character or nothing. Although when it does come to the utility, like the fact that he can now crush lows very easily with EX parry punch here, that's great. Also, the damage is going up on all the parry punches because, once again, getting more damage is the name of the game now. And his overall utility against fireballs is great because, you know, he's got no other recourse other than to work his way in, right? So things like the heavy parry punch recovers very quick, well, quicker anyways, not very quick, when it eats up a fireball is great. And the fact that the big punch can now be used as a gotcha super against projectiles because it is now fully projectile immune. That is great. That gives the level 1 version especially a lot more utility because it's very quick, like in traveling across screen. Don't hold it because you're going to get countered, right? It's only if you do the quick version, but still, it's exactly what the doctor ordered. He needed something like this, so that's great. So Yashiro is doing so good in this patch. Another very big winner is Shermie. So Shermie struggled very much against fireball characters before, right? She had no recourse other than just fling herself in and hope for the best. And usually that's when you get uppercutted. But now, the Excel Spin Kick is now fully projectile invincible. You would have thought before this was the anti-fireball move, except usually you land on top of it and die, which you still can. The invincibility is only at the beginning, right? But before you just get crushed or you do the big thing, which is way slower than a regular jump and then get blown up, like, it just sucked. And now it actually works as a proper anti-fireball, right? And both versions, light kick and heavy kick version, both got nice damage buffs as well. So just fantastic across the board. You're much more incentivized to do it. And now it can lead to better gotcha situations where she can super cancel the spin kick, right? So if I know I'm going to catch you, I can now do a lot of guaranteed damage. And if you happen to have the meter, she is the kind of character where level 1 flows into level 2 very easily and very nicely, right? This is the kind of thing you can't just do, only do it if you know it's coming, like it's gonna work, right? But still, it just helps your utility big time. Speaking of helping your utility big time, if you watched the patch notes video, I didn't put 2 and 2 together immediately, right? I didn't think about it immediately. But her crouch heavy punch, which is her anti-air sniping move, basically, which is great because she sort of struggled against air stuff before. And just having an on-demand move is so much better, even if it trades every now and then. It's great, just to dissuade him from jumping. And her other anti-air options also got better faster. That's great. But the thing is about this being 2 frames faster is it now links from crouch light punch. So this means she can go into her usual combo fare from crouch light punch, which is a very big deal. This helps out a lot. Shermie's game plan was awkward. Like, yes, she can now also do stuff like this, which is another big buff, right? The fact that the first hit of stand light kick is special cancelable. But, you know, those are lights. They're not heavies. It is very, very nice that she can, you know, do a lot of the classic stuff now off lights in that way. But the fact that she can just do it off heavies, well, heavies are more damage. More damage, more options, more better. Once again, I mentioned earlier with a different character how this patch seems to have a lot more links, like lights into heavy links, right? And for Shermie, this is actually a giant deal. And she got other fun stuff like crouch. Her sweep is better poke because it moves forward now while you're doing it, so it just extends the range of the move. That's great because they're like her low options aren't necessarily the greatest compared to some other characters. She isn't doing, you know, into full combo like some other people can, right? So that's great. She did lose stuff. She did lose stuff. Like the old Oki, where I do this and I do this, and that's guaranteed and you can't mash out, or if you try to roll it, then I'm going to throw you on the recovery and this, that, and the other. That Oki's dead now, which sucks. But I think she definitely got more than she lost. Just her neutral is better. Her options up close are better. She does more damage. She has potential to get more damage. Her anti-air game is better either through the chop or through the fact that her other anti-air options are now faster startup, which is great because you can call the move and you would think correctly catch it and then they barely just fall out because your move was a little too slow. That happened more times than I would be caring to admit to me, to some great frustration, but now it should work more as intended. So overall, even though she lost some Oki options, her damage potential and options are going up, and it's good times for Shermie. Auto time Oki might be dead off the command grab, but just because the auto time Oki might be dead doesn't mean there's not new options as well. Hope springs eternal, right? So Shermie, looking forward to the future. Now, when it comes to losers, first up is Ramon. And you might be saying, well, hey, wait a second, Ramon, he got buffed, right? And yeah, technically he did. Ramon, widely held as potentially the worst character in the game, and that's not changing after this patch. That's why he's a loser. because he needed the world. Like, some of the people got, like, 2 pages long buff changes in the patch notes. He was one of the characters that needed that. Like, yeah, he can, like, hit you with his ass now or something, like when he does feint cancels, which is fun, I guess, but, like, that's not what he needs, man. The change list for Ramon should have been the longest of all characters. Simple as that. And it's not. And it's not that long at all. So just by the pure virtue of the fact he was awful and he didn't get anything he needed to really pull him out of that state, that is why he's a loser in this patch. Other people got nerfed and are still eating way better than he is. Ramon needs a lot more. Dolores is a loser in this patch. She definitely loses because of, like, the universal changes to the nerf of the damage of Crouch Like Kick, because she was one of the characters that got the world off Crouch Like Kick, and she still gets, stuff, but it got nerfed. She does less damage, and that's how she's going to be getting a lot of her damage, so that sucks. Here's another thing. A lot of the better characters in this game that got nerfed in this patch, in the end, they're still among the better characters in the game, and Dolores, she's still got a great toolbox and all that, right? But a lot of the other characters, got something, like a pity buff to offset the nerfs. Not so much Dolores. So the Boot of Doom, like before that, this would, like, knock people clear out of the air, right? And now it can actually miss against people hopping, which is reasonable. It's a fair nerf. But it doesn't change the fact this was like a one-button cure-all, right? It beat people on the ground, it beat people trying to hop in, and now it can actually miss against a lot of the hops. The hitbox for it was reduced downwards, so it just can't snipe people in the air anymore, and that's definitely to her detriment. And the fact that Rage Cage here does 80 damage, used to do 120, once again, just her damage is lower across the board. She still maintains the options, right? But she doesn't have the pity buffs the other top tier characters got for getting some nerfs. So that puts her in the loser category as far as I'm concerned. Mai, I consider a loser in the patch. She's still a very good character, do not get me wrong, but she lost some key stuff. She lost her anti-throw setup, where basically close stand light kick basically made her throw immune, so she could do it on your wake up with pretty much impunity. There are still a few characters left that can do that, but they just decided Mai wasn't meant to be one of those characters, so they got rid of it. Sucks for her. Like, the move got a damage buff, so, like, that helps make up for it. But losing that utility and knowing you didn't have to fear wake up throw, like, now you just can't be as fearless as you were before. So, yeah, it has more damage, but, like, the utility and the threat of that was so good, and losing that sucks. And the big one is her stand CD got nerfed. We talked about this a little bit here for Dolores, but for Mai, it's such a bigger deal. Like, stand CD, her blowback, that was her sledgehammer. This was her, I don't need other options because I got this move, right? And it got nerfed. The big thing is, just like Dolores, the upper part of the hitbox is nerfed, meaning it no longer crushes people trying to hop in. Like, the fact that she could, for the most part, use it as anti-crouch, anti-ground, anti-air, that's part of the reason why it was the sledgehammer move, right? And now it is simply not as reliable as it was before to hit people in the air. Not to say it can't. Like, if you can catch it like the very tail end, you can. But at that point, why didn't they hit you already, right? So losing its utility as like an anti-hop move for space control is a massive loss. Also, they expanded the overall frames of the move, so it's out there for just a little bit longer. So if you were like somehow whiff the move, it's just a bit more detrimental. But, the move being the move, why would you whiff the move, right? Like, the range is absolutely ridiculous. If you whiffed it, that's on you. That's on you. But still, losing the ability to just control as much space as it did hurts a lot. Now, she's got other tools. She always has stand light kick. They buff stand heavy kick. They want you to use stand heavy kick as an anti-air. That's why they reduced the hurt box, so it's less likely you'll trade. But you will trade, and you'll still lose. Like, it's just not great. Definitely wasn't the preventative cure-all that stand CD was. And that's about the long and short of it. Yes, so many other characters got buffs. Those are just some of the characters that got buffed that really stood out to me a little bit ahead of the pack. And yes, other characters got nerfed. But, Vanessa's still a great character. Terry's still a great character. Gato's still a great character. Like, they're nerfed, yeah, but I don't think they really lost. When they're still better than most of the rest of the cast, how can I call you a loser in that way, right? So they're fine, and they don't have any defining crippling loss, like say Mai losing out on her signature attack. But yeah, overall, great patch. Love the patch. I think great for the health of the game. How about now that we have this patch, we don't have to worry about patches for a little bit, unless like someone here winds up being super broken, maybe fixing some bugs. So how about devoting your energy now, Lord SNK, to fixing matchmaking? Because that would be just great. I would love that, and I think a lot of other people would too. But overall, besides matchmaking not being fixed just yet, great patch, thumbs up. But now you can fix that problem, right? I think we all agree. But yeah, so that's it for me, my friends. So let me know what you think. If there's anyone who you think is a particular big winner or loser, post in the comments below. And otherwise, we're at the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. And go out and play some King of Fighters.
Yeah.